$13. He's about $10 on the American tote. Bud Royale 54, General Challenge at $6.50. He is about $6 on the American tote, so about the same. Lemon Drop Kid is at $11. Now here's the overs. He's $4 and the second pick on the American tote, and here he is $11 on the New South Wales tote. He's got a great record too. He won the Belmont, leg of the Triple Crown earlier this year. Chester House at 44, 43 Old Trieste and Supreme Sound at 100 to 1. So Tone, what do you think about the Classic?
Well, I'm a General Challenge fan, Matt. I think he's going to be up on the speed. Good reports about his track work through the week. And like I said, the last throw of the dice for Bob Baffert, he's come up empty so far. And he's had 8 runners so far this afternoon.
Bob can wrap a horse, but he rates him one of the best horses in his stable, General Challenge, a 3-year-old.
Yeah, he's only a 3-year-old. He's one of 5 3-year-olds taking on the older horses here, and 3-year-olds have a pretty good record in the race. They've won 5 out of the 15 runnings of the Breeders' Cup Classic. He's a hard, tough sort of horse. He'll take a forward position, so I'm sure he'll give us a sight, Matt.
He won the Saratoga Derby in April and won the Pacific Classic 2 runs back. That's a very respected race in the USA. I think it's a race that Cigar won on his way to winning one of these big Breeders' Cup races.
Sure is. Weight for age race against the older horses, so he's operating at the same level right now. General Challenge.
Actually, that Pacific Challenge, I'm told, is one of the few races that Cigar was actually beaten in. He was beaten in that race by a horse by the name of Dare and Go. So the Pacific Classic is one that eluded him, but it didn't elude General Challenge. Lemon Drop Kid is trained by Flint Schulhofer, a Group 1 winner as a 2-year-old. He won the Belmont during the year, and he also won a Group 1 race 2 runs back. It was the Travers Handicap over 2,000 metres, so he'd have to be a chance. We're about to have a look at one of his replays, Tone.
We sure are, Matt. Yeah, he got away with the Travers Stakes. He's the horse in the nose roll, and on his inside is Vision and Verse, who opposes him this afternoon as well.
And Menifee is coming with his run. The time is running out. Lemon Drop Kid and Vision and Verse. It looks like a reprise of the Belmont. Menifee is finishing third. It is Lemon Drop Kid. He has won it. Vision and Verse finishing second. A repeat of the Belmont Stakes. And Menifee...
Another of the 3-year-olds in this race, and they do get in with that lighter weight too. I mean, it's a bit like weight for age racing in Australia. 3-year-olds always get that advantage.
For sure. We're getting towards the end of the year. They're quite mature at this stage of their life. So, yeah, with that little weight pull, it quite often works out in their favour, doesn't it?
And he's one of the favourites on course on the American tote, that is. They don't have bookmakers in the USA, but 2 to 1 for Berens, number 2, who's one of the top gallopers in America. As I said, he has won 2 Group 1 races. He's been runner-up in Group 1 races at his last 2 starts. He ran second to River Keen last time out over 2,000 and ran second to Victory Gallop in the start prior to that over 1,800 metres, or 1 1/8 of a mile, as they'd say in the USA. Anything else you've been able to find here, Tone?
I think a bit of a long shot's got a chance here, Matt. A horse called Old Trieste. I caught him winning in California earlier on in the year, and a very impressive horse, but hard to train. He's got white feet, obviously a bit tricky for him to be kept up. But he's an on-pace runner. He's probably going to lead, or he wouldn't be any worse than third in the run, I suppose. And he's by AP Indy, who also got away with this race a few years ago.
TAB Limited have been wagering with us this morning on racing from Gulfstream Park in USA. Their phone operators are standing by to take your bets. 132822, and this is the last race for our coverage this morning. We do have Sunday racing coming up on Sky a little bit later today. Racing Retro coming up at 9:30 Eastern Daylight Saving Time. Because of our special coverage of the Breeders' Cup, our track data will follow this last race from Gulfstream Park with all of the scratchings and information to get you through Sunday racing. That's coming up after the last event from Gulfstream Park. Joan Wakefield, we heard from Joan Wakefield earlier on. She is associated with the Dickens stable that have had some good gallopers over the years, including Dar Hoss. Andrew Bensley caught up with Joan to discuss Supreme Sound.
He's running in the Classic. He's a 5-year-old colt that came to us. He was previously trained by Peter Harris in England. Peter also owns him. He'd run 1 time on the dirt in England in the Winter Derby, which he won, and so Peter thought that it was time to give him a try in America on the dirt. His last run for us, we took him out to Chicago, and he won the Hawthorne Gold Cup out there, which is 1.25 miles on the dirt, a $500,000 race. And so we felt that he deserves his chance in the Classic.
Michael Dickinson trains him. He's horse number 14, Supreme Sound, in the last race. He has been racing well, but he does meet a good field here.
Well, for sure. He's going to have to lift a little bit, Matt, on what his form suggests anyway. These are the big boys now.
Won a race last time out over 2,000 metres, but this is a tougher assignment than that. That was a Group 3 race. He didn't beat a great deal on that occasion. He beat Golden Missile and Bebop and Baby, and you'd have to wonder how horses like that would, shape up in a race like that. So that's, I think, enough time that we need to spend on Supreme Sound. The favourite remains Almerta Wakel. He's about $7 on the American TAB at the moment. Their favourite is Barons number 2, and I think he is a bit of a crowd favourite over there too. He's in the running for one of those Eclipse Awards.
Very popular horse. He fractured a cannon bone as a young horse, but has come good with maturity. Trained by a fellow called James Bond, who apparently has the 007 motif on his saddle cloth when his horses go around. So that'll be something to see if we can check him out.
Drives an Aston Martin too, apparently.
I'm sure he does.
James Bond, the trainer of Barons number 2, one of the big hopes in this last race. If you've just joined us, one of the highlights of our Breeders' Cup telecast this morning was a short time ago when Dale Army took out the running of the Breeders' Cup turf over a mile and a half. It was a great moment too for Frankie Dettori. He was very excited. I mean, Frankie's an excitable character at the best of times, but he got a real kick out of it because last year he was widely criticised for his ride on Swain in this upcoming race in the Classic.
He was, wasn't he, Matt? Of course, Swain did look like it was going to chime in with a winning run, but all of a sudden lost its bearings and started to hang right. And Frankie persisted in whipping the horse with his left arm, and as a result, he may well have thrown the race away. There's Swain on the outside in the blue colours. The winner, Awesome Again, sneaks through in the black, 3 out off the fence.
Awesome Again is flying into 10 horses. A one-out finish to the Classic. Awesome Again has won. Awesome Again is the winner.
Yeah, he was widely criticised, Frankie, for persisting with that whip action, and may well have thrown the race away. Who's to know? But I think that's in the distant memory of one Frankie Dettori right now, Matt.
Yeah, it certainly is. I mean, the horse quite clearly wasn't appreciating being hit with the whipper. He was veering out towards the outside rail, so questionable why he continued that line, but he did. Swain got beaten, and as you say, it's in the past.
Well, that's for sure. He put the whip away ultimately, but the damage was done, I'd suggest, by then.
Sheikh Mohammed obviously wasn't too worried about it because he remains one of the #1 stable riders for the Godolphin team, which is backed by Sheikh Mohammed. Runners are getting around to the barrier for the Breeders' Cup Classic. This race was won in 1995 by one of the stars of American racing, certainly in the modern era, the Wonderful Cigar, Tone.
The Wonderful Cigar, yeah, a terrific horse, and the leading prize money earner of all time. There he is in front, winning the Classic in 95.
With a 2.5 length lead, and Jerry Bailey calls on Cigar for everything he has. The Carrier is a weakening second. On the inside, unaccounted for. On the outside, Sullivan Manor. And here he is, the unconquerable, invincible, unbeatable Cigar.
One of America's favourites, Cigar, winning the Classic in the year of 1995. Brings us up to the last Breeders' Cup race for 1999 at Gulfstream Park. It's late Saturday afternoon. It's been a long day for racegoers at Gulfstream Park. We're getting towards the last, and I guess it's been a bit of a mixed bag in terms of the punting stakes.
Yeah, I suppose most of the favoured runners, or most of the winners have been favoured runners. There's been a couple of surprise results, but, well, that's just Breeders' Cup racing for you, isn't it, Matt? And who's to know how this race will pan out? It is quite an open affair. We've got Almerta Wakel favourite on the local TAB, but he certainly won't be favourite stateside. And, well, whoever prevails here is a terrific chance to win the Horse of the Year title in the States.
Yeah, Almerta Wakel was the Dubai World Cup winner earlier this year. He's had 12 starts for 4 wins and 4 placings. His last 2 starts have been in the United States, and they've both been very good. He ran second at Belmont, 2 runs back over 1800, and then ran third last time out in the Group 1 Jockey Club, the Jockey Club Stakes over 2,000 metres. So he's been getting close to a win. They've been his 2 runs in America, and he's held himself pretty well.
He's a very competitive horse, and most of his top form has been on the dirt. We saw him score in Dubai there, and again he's in his element this morning with that dirt track at Gulfstream Park. He can take a forward position, and that's going to help him too, I'd imagine.
Katinas, who has the inside gate in this race, a 5-year-old. His overall record is 4 wins from 15. I don't think he appreciated the wet track last start. He was beaten nearly 10 lengths in the race won by River Keen, but if you overlook that run, his form was quite good. I mean, in terms of the placings.
It was very strong, wasn't it, Matt? He finished second in the Group 2 Breeders' Cup Challenge handicap at Saratoga the start before, a model of consistency leading up to that, and his form around horses like Behrens was very strong, so he must be a chance. He's by Stormcat.
A horse we haven't discussed, Cat Thief, number 6, paying about $12 at the moment, a 3-year-old by Stormcat, another one from the D. Wayne Lucas stable. He was a Group 1 winner 3 starts back. He won an invitation race at... I think it's the Meadowlands is the track that he picked up that race. It was 1,800 metres, Tone.
Yeah, Meadowlands it'd be, I'd say, Matt. He was placed in the Kentucky Derby, Cat Thief. He's an on-pace runner. There he is on screen there, number 6, in the white colours and white blinkers, and trained by Dwayne Lucas.
Yeah, Pat Day hasn't had a winner so far today. In fact, it hasn't really been a great spread in terms of the jockeys. Jorge Chavez has won 2 Breeders' Cup races. Jerry Bailey has won 2 Breeders' Cup races. Corey Nakatani, Gary Stevens and Frankie Dettori have been the other 3 winning riders so far today. Trainers, D. Wayne Lucas has won a Breeders' Cup today. John Ward Jr., Julio Kanani, Louis Albertrani, James J. Toner, Alex Hassinger and Sayed bin Surur have been the winning trainers of the Breeders' Cup races. This is the last of them. The Breeders' Cup Classic, a race worth $4 million to wrap up Breeders' Cup Day and also to wrap up the World Series racing. Here is our caller, Tom Durkin, for the last.
The last one to move into line here in this field of 14 for the 16th Classic is Supreme Sound, breaking for the outside post, the 99-to-1 shot on the board right now. The favorite, breaking from post position number 2, is Behrens, hoping for a horse of the year. They're in the gate for the Breeders' Cup Classic.
Pick it up.
Bud Royale, make that the Chester House acting up a bit on the outside. He's settled down now. And they're off. Bud Royale gets off to a good start. Old Trieste is flashing his early speed. Cat Thief is there running in mid-pack. River Keen also has some early speed as well. Supreme Sound on the far outside. The Classic field moves by us for the first time. It is Cat Thief, Old Trieste, Bud Royale in between those 2. Mutawakel, Supreme Sound on the outside. River Keen is running in 6th position. Golden Missile is now 7th. And then it's Vision Verse to his outside 8th. And Behrens is 9th and in hand in the early stages. Lemon Drop Kid is 10th and on the far outside. Ecton Park is next, followed by Long Leg General Challenge, who is maintaining position on the outside of horses through the early furlongs. Gatianis is next, and Chester House is far behind. The first quarter in a sharp 23 seconds flat, and it is Old Trieste with his usual front-running gambit, the leader taking the field down the backstretch. It is Old Trieste opening up now from Cat Thief by 2.5 lengths. He's running a very ambitious race here. The half in 45 3/5 seconds. Bud Royale in close contact to the sharp pace. Mutawakel 4th toward the inside. Golden Missile is racing in 5th. Then it's River Keen who moves through on the inside of Supreme Sound, is now running in 7th. Jorge Chavez is asking Behrens for his run at the half-mile pole. He is 10 lengths behind now. Vision Verse, Lemon Drop Kid, and General Challenge on the outside. Around the far turn, Cat Thief now to the neck of Old Trieste. Bud Royale, Golden Missile in with a huge upset chance on the outside. Mutawakel, Lemon Drop Kid made a big move on the turn, and he's only 5 lengths from the lead. River Keen is dropping back, and Behrens is laboring, and they are at the top of the stretch here. Bud Royale fighting on gamely. Golden Missile on the outside. Cat Thief clawing his way to the lead. Cat Thief, Golden Missile, Bud Royale all hard. It's Cat Thief in front. Cat Thief coming down to the line, and Cat Thief has won it by 1 length over Bud Royale and Golden Missile.
Pat Day, D. Wayne Lucas and Cat Thief, number 6, coming through with the goods. Cat Thief is the winner. A 3-year-old colt by Stormcat out of Train Robbery. 9 and 4 should be in the place. Number 9, Bud Royale, ridden by G. Gomez and trained by Ted West, and back in third spot was number 4, Golden Missile, trained by Joseph Orsino and ridden by Ken DeSormo. So 6, 9, 4 past the post, and Cat Thief was just going that little bit better in the last little bit as we picked them up on replay.
He was. He did plenty of work up on the front end, didn't he, Matt? And all marks to him. Those horses in pursuit had every chance to run him down. They loomed up with gigantic threats, and the D. Wayne Lucas horse pulled away in the end. He was very impressive.
Wraps up a pretty good day for D. Wayne Lucas. A few of his fancied runners have gone down, but he also won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile with the filly Cash Run at about 25 to 1. She was ridden by Jerry Bailey and won the 4th race on the card, and Pat Day takes the ride on this one, who won the Belmont Stakes as part of the Triple Crown. He has won Group 1 races in the past, so certainly no fluke.
Yeah, he was a very smart horse as a younger horse. All of a sudden he's really lifted and hit top form. And there's another one by Stormcat, the number 1 stallion in the USA.
Yeah, he ran 3rd in the Kentucky Derby and finished down the track in the Preakness. This galloper, he won the Travers, finished 7th in the Travers 2 runs back, but ran 3rd in a Group 2 last start. So his form had been pretty fair coming into the last.
Well, he was operating at the top level for a good part of his career, so he hadn't got away with too many races, only 3 wins and 11 starts going into the race. But the D. Wayne Lucas polish has got him home another Breeders' Cup winner.
The Breeders' Cup Classic, number 6, Cat Thief, 12.50, 5.90, 9, Bud Royale, 2.60, and number 4, Golden Missile, 3rd at 17.90 for a place. 117.50 Quinella, 367 the trifecta, and all of these jockeys have plenty to be excited about after their wins today, especially Pat Day, because he's picked up the best part, or the jockey's percentage, of the $4 million prize money allocated to the last race. That trifecta paid with any other starter back in 3rd spot. Golden Missile was a little bit of a roughie, so the trifecta pays on 6, 9 and any other runner for the dollar on race 10, the Breeders' Cup Classic. So that just about winds up our coverage of Breeders' Cup Classic. They call it Championship Day. Of course, they have 3 days of racing. They raced yesterday at Gulfstream Park, and they will race there tomorrow, but today's certainly the jewel in the crown, isn't it?
Well, it was, and it's thrown a real spanner in the works as far as Horse of the Year honours go, because none of the contenders really, well, they didn't get the money, and Cat Thief wasn't mentioned as a possible Horse of the Year, so the problem hasn't been solved one bit with that win.
No, it probably makes it more intriguing, doesn't it? Mm. And Pat Day about to return for D. Wayne Lucas, who has a great record with 3-year-olds in general. He has won numerous legs of that Triple Crown, the Preakness, the Belmont, and of course the Kentucky Derby. Just one of those trainers who knows how to handle the younger horses, I guess, Tone.
Well, that's for sure. And those nasal strips that we were mentioning earlier on, well, they've come out with 2 winners for the afternoon. D. Wayne Lucas preparing both of those horses. Whether or not they make any difference remains to be seen, but I think a few more trainers might be trying them after today.
I wonder if we'll see them in Australia. There is Pat. He's got the nasal strip on as well as the horse. Well, I guess only time will tell whether we see them in Australia in time to come. I think they'd probably have to be passed as official gear, though, wouldn't they?
Well, apparently they're only legal in certain states over there at this stage, right. And it's still early doors, and whether or not they make any difference, well, who's to know?
All right. Let's recap the results, because I'm sure many of our viewers wouldn't have been with us from the start of our program at around 4 a.m. this morning when we kicked off the first of these 10 races. Race 1 was the Sunday Silence Stakes, won by 4 Night Dreamer, ridden by Shane Sellers. 3 Reality Road was second, Fig Fest was third, the trifecta $95.50. Race 2 was a fillies race, the Eliza Stakes, and it was won by Sahara Gold number 1. And she was ridden by Jerry Bailey in the second. She paid 6 for a win, 18.10 for a place. The Pearls were a little bit skinny earlier on. That's the reason we had some strange divs. 3.90 for second, and Nikki Ticky was third. 6.10 Quinella, 127.50 the trifecta. Breeders' Cup Distaff for fillies and mares. The winner was Beautiful Pleasure, number 6, ridden by Jorge Chavez, a 4-year-old mare by Maudlin, trained by John Ward Jr. 3 Banshee Breeze second. Heritage of Gold was third for a trifecta of 141.20. Race 4 was the Breeders' Cup Juvenile for 2-year-old fillies. Number 1, Cash Run, ridden by Jerry Bailey. A 2-year-old filly by Seeking the Gold, trained by D. Wayne Lucas. 36.30. It was an upset. The favourite Chalaki went down. Surfside was third for a trifecta of 151.60. Race 5 was the time-honoured Breeders' Cup Mile over 1,600 metres, or probably better to say the very prestigious Breeders' Cup Mile. I think of all the Breeders' Cup races, the mile is the one that probably has the most respect.
I suppose it's the most universal of the lot, because we're getting, we often see European horses go around in the race, and you know, they're operating on the turf, so there's a chance for everyone there, whereas the dirt is usually confined to the North American horses, isn't it, the winner?
Silic, a 4-year-old colt by Celery, trained by Giulio Canani and ridden by Corey Nakatani, beat Kona Gold and Big Jag third for a $784 trifecta. Race 6, the Breeders' Cup Sprint over 1,200, and we'll check out the sprint in a moment. I can tell you it was won by Artax, number 5, another winner for Jorge Chavez, beat number 2 Kona Gold and Big Jag, and that 4-year-old colt trained by Louis Albertrani, 4-year-old colt by Marketry. So Artax taking the Breeders' Cup Sprint. Now, race 7 was the Breeders' Cup Turf for fillies and mares, the first running this year. 12 Soaring Softly, ridden by Jerry Bailey. 6:20.320, a 4-year-old filly by Chris S, trained by James J. Toner, beat 14 Coretta, and Zomarada ran third for a trifecta of $370. Race number 8 was won by 9 Anise. This was the Breeders' Cup Juvenile for colts and geldings. Gary Stevens, the winning rider. A 2-year-old colt by Unbridled, trained by Alex Hassinger Jr. $14.69. Chief Seattle second. High Yield third for a trifecta of $1,296. The Breeders' Cup Turf over a mile and a half was race 9. It was won by Dale Army, ridden by Frankie Dettori for Sayed Bin Surur, a 5-year-old by Dayoon. He was the odds-on favourite. Royal Anthem second. Bucks Boy third, $8.80 Quinella, $144.20 the trifecta. And the last event, the Breeders' Cup Classic over 2,000, Pat Day and D. Wayne Lucas with Cat Thief, $12.55.90, Bud Royale $2.60, Golden Missile $17.90, $117.50 Quinella, $367 the trifecta, paying on 6.9 and any other starter. And that is it for our live coverage from Miami, Florida, at the Gulfstream Park Raceway. Breeders' Cup Classic Day has, I think it's lived up to everything we promoted it to be.